Hello students, today in this video we are going to learn about the topic of reforms. During the period of Jawaharlal Nehru's government, Nehru started a number of reforms. Among those, what are the important reforms we are going to learn in this video? Nehru started, you are observing on the screen, Jawaharlal Nehru on the screen, Jawaharlal Nehru, the first Prime Minister of India on the screen. And he started, number one, land reforms, and number two, economic reforms, and number three, social reforms, and number four, political reforms. We have to discuss the topic of land reforms. We know very well during the British government there was Jamindari system in our India, land revenue system, and the Permanent Settlement Act system. During the period of the British Governor Generals Cornwallis, Warren Hastings, and Wellesley, in all these British Governor Generals implemented a number of the acts. And you are observing on the screen Warren Hastings, the land revenue system, and Cornwallis, the Permanent Settlement Act, and the Wellesley subsidiary alliance system, and the Dalhousie implemented the doctrine of lapse. So in all these, from all these systems, after getting independence, Indian government abolished all type of these British government systems. And importantly, India's aim was to distribute land to the landless people. So under the land reforms, lakhs of acres of land was collected from the landlords, was started by a land reformer, Vinoba Bhave. You are observing on the screen the picture Vinoba Bhave. Yes, Vinoba Bhave started land reforms in our India, and he toured entire our India and collected lakhs of acres of land, and he wanted to distribute land to the landless people based on their poor economy, based on the number of people, number of persons in the family. They wanted to distribute the government land to the poor people. Of course, there was a blame on our Indian government by some people that the land reforms were correctly not implemented in our India. As a result, what happened, not only the poor people, even the rich people, those who have already land also selected their names as the poor people, and they also were given land. And by this land reforms, lakhs of acres of land was taken into irrigation, and the actual size of the net sown area size was enormously increased. Crop production was also increased in our India, and number of landless farmers also given land. And number two, economic reforms. We know very well, to do any work in the government, definitely government should require heavy amount of money. And we already know by the British government's rule, more than 200 to 250 years rule, they completely spoiled our economy, completely ruined our economical natural resources. It means the natural mines, iron mines, coal mines, copper mines, gold mines. Even they exploited even the physical mental skills of Indians also. Which departments are completely ruined by British rule, by the British rule, that all one by one, all departments are to be set back, was the aim of Jawaharlal Nehru. That is why Jawaharlal Nehru started 5-year plans. Under economical reforms, Jawaharlal Nehru started 5-year plans. First 5-year plan was implemented in 1951 to 56, and the Planning Commission was set up in 1950. Planning Commission was kept under the control of Prime Minister, and first plan priority was given to agricultural sector. The same way second plan 1956 to 61, third plan 61 to 66, second 5-year plan aim was heavy industries. In the third 5-year plan, government gave importance for self-reliance. After 3 plans, by the sudden war against Pakistan in the year of 1965, after the third plan, fourth plan was not immediately implemented. 3 years plan holiday was given. 1966 to 1969, plan holiday was announced, and during the Indira Gandhi's government, fourth plan was began 1969 to 74 with the aim of Garibi Hatao. You are observing on the screen the Prime Minister Indira Gandhi photo on the screen. And Indira Gandhi implemented fourth plan with the aim of Garibi Hatao, nothing but removal of poverty. And Nehru not only implemented the land reforms and economical reforms, it means the 5-year plans, even he implemented the method of green revolution. Nothing but a new scientific technology which was implemented in the Indian agricultural sector in order to increase the crop production. Nehru started the green revolution. The main aim of India was in that time to increase crop production, because government in the time of 1950 to 1960, in the decade, production was less, consumption was more. That's why it was inevitable for our India to increase the crop production by using the modern methods. So green revolution was nothing but a new scientific technology which is going to implement in our Indian agricultural sector in order to increase the crop production, food grains production. So green revolution included using hybrid yielding variety seeds, and using the groundwater, and using chemical pesticides and chemical fertilizers. So by implementing all these methods, the ultimate aim of India was to increase the crop production. Of course, what was the expectation by our Indian government during the Nehru's government? More than that we have achieved. Nearly 30% of the production of our Indian agricultural sector was increased, and it gave a confidence to our Indian government in order to continue the green revolution methods. Of course, implementing green revolution in the long time is not recommendable, because we know already green revolution includes using more groundwater, using more chemical pesticides, fertilizers. This may be caused for land degradation and scarcity for water. And in that time it was compulsory. In the decade of 1950 to 1960, it was compulsory for us in order to fulfill the food necessaries of our Indian people. And by the green revolution, the production of wheat, production of paddy, production of pulses, all these were enormously increased. So India achieved from the stage of dependent level to independent level. It means sufficiency level. From self-sufficiency level up to the exporting level also, India achieved a lot of progress in Indian agricultural sector. And the fourth one, political reforms. Nehru's government accepted for the State Reorganization Commission. We know already about it. We saw the same topic in the previous video, SRC, State Reorganization Commission. And by this commission, SRC was passed in 1953, and by this many new states are created in our India. And based on language, Andhra was the first state created on the linguistic basis. A copying of our Andhra, number of other states, nearly 14 states are newly created. Enormously, the states number was increased. And many people think they have to protect their culture and language. As a result, revolutions are began by many area people in our India from different states in order to protect their language, protect their culture, protect their region feelings, protect their religion. So in all these various political reforms also implemented in the period of Jawaharlal Nehru. And Green Revolution, the same way 5-year plans gave good result, and by these implementations Nehru's government provided a suitable positive path to our India in order to run our Indian economy on the grand road and towards development way. Of course, Nehru's reforms were not only these four. Under the political reforms, foreign policy was also formulated by Jawaharlal Nehru. So, foreign policy was nothing but a list of principles which we have to follow, how India should behave with its neighboring countries, with its remaining western countries like America, and with the eastern countries like Russia. So India has to take a policy, particularly how to behave with our friends, with our enemy countries. So under the foreign policy, India also followed one more policy called Panchashil. Nothing but a 5 principles agreement which was signed by the 2 country leaders. Panchashil agreement was made between India and China. Indian side, the leader, Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru, and Chinese side, Chow En-lai, the PM of China. You are observing on the screen both the Prime Ministers Nehru and Chow En-lai. Okay, and this Panchashil agreement was made in 1954 June 23rd. 1954 June 23rd, Panchashil agreement was signed by the 2 above leaders what we discussed, Chow En-lai and Jawaharlal Nehru. And afterwards, by the Panchashil, what are the 5 principles we have to revise once? Protecting territorial borders of the both countries, and not to involve in the personal issue of one country by others, and develop the countries based on equality, give our cooperation in the field of economy, business, commerce, trade, education, culture and polity, and last, giving preference for peaceful coexistence. So these are the 5 principles. That's why this is to be called as Panchashil. Panch means 5, Shil means principles. And these all are implemented by Jawaharlal Nehru in his period. So he was the only prime minister who worked in our India from 1947, from the independence onwards up to 1964, up to his assassination. So nearly 17 years he worked as the prime minister, and he also implemented finally one more political reform called as NAM, which was proposed in 1955 Bandung Conference and implemented in 1961 at Belgrade in Yugoslavia. So NAM means non-alignment movement. We know already, we discussed it in the previous videos. So according to NAM policy, India preferred not to join in any military blocs prepared by either America, Western Bloc, or by Russia, Eastern Bloc. So by the NAM policy, India attracted many countries, and many countries followed the Indian policy NAM, because no country in the world want war. All countries wanted to live togetherly, peacefully. That's why the architect of NAM was Jawaharlal Nehru. Of course, along with Jawaharlal Nehru, three important pioneers worked for this NAM, and they were respectively Sukarno from Indonesia and Marshal Tito from Yugoslavia and Nasser from Egypt. And you have been observing those three personalities' names on our screen: Sukarno and Marshal Tito and Nasser. Okay, dear students, this is today's topic, and we are going to know one more topic. We have to come with one more new topic in our next video. Thank you for watching.